my name is the whole truth, not the perfect.
Yeah.
Consumers are the best bullshit detectors in the world. If that's how you think about yourself, that you can spot a lie in an ad and someone trying to sell something to you in a jiffy, you are the consumer. Big companies are built on make a 30-second TVC, blast it on air, show it to 10 crore people. Your products are available in 1 crore shops. Hopefully, probabilities will play out. Imagine if 6 months down the line, I put out a marketing campaign which says nothing touched by AI here.
Yeah.
That every word you read, everything you hear is untouched by AI. But I know that I will fail. And when I fail, I will hold myself to a very high standard. We didn't create a community by wanting to create a community.
Yeah,
it happened, and then we just, I think, did the right things to be the platform to bring them together. Your strengths are your weaknesses. Because content is my strength, it is also my weakness.
Communities versus groups. It's giving versus taking.
Yeah.
Hi everyone, welcome back to Matrix Moments. It's my privilege to be talking to Shashank Mehta, founder of The Whole Truth. We are now talking about content and community in this podcast, which is part 2 of the podcast, and don't forget to watch part 1 where we talk about culture, and I will take that as an assumed watch before you watch this one. So super excited to be having this conversation, and I am both super excited and also afraid on 2 dimensions. One is the topic is content and community, which I know that you can talk about for hours. Yes. So I'm afraid that it's going to be a very long podcast, and I am woefully unequipped to talk to you about this topic because you are just such a great, I know you will not qualify yourself as a master, but a great student of just building content and communities, and we're sort of leaning on you to learn from your experiences.
Very happy to share. Now you've put me under a lot of pressure to sound intelligent, but
no,
I'll try.
No pressure. Let's just do a very open, candid conversation. And I'm going to talk about this one thing that you told me, which is, the large companies are finding it very difficult to build new age brands. And I said, why? And he said, because they know one motion, which is a TV-led motion. Yeah. And you're now talking to TV dark audiences.
Yeah.
You can't reach them.
Yeah.
And how do you reach someone who is essentially off TV, off all of the normal media?
Yeah.
How do you reach them? Right.
The answer is you don't. They reach you if they wish to. So this is the fundamental problem of building new age brands. I don't think anyone articulates it this way, unfortunately, but it's not a TAM problem. It is not a we don't know how to do healthy products problem for big company. It's the problem is they don't know how to reach this top 1 or 2% of the country, which is media dark. Everything is premium. Hotstar is premium. YouTube is premium. Where do you see an ad? Like, I would love to know from everyone in the audience, where did you last discover a new brand? Most probably the answer is going to be either Instagram, or some friend told me, saw it in a friend's place, or nowadays maybe on quick commerce like Blinkit or Instamart. And the fundamental muscle difference is big companies are built on make a 30-second TVC, blast it on air, show it to 10 crore people. Your products are available in 1 crore shops. Hopefully probabilities will play out. These 10 crore people will see ad, go to one of the 1 crore stores and buy it. Doesn't work anymore. You can't reach me through any push advertising. You have to get me to you. And as the top 1 or 2% of this country, just think about what do we do. We yearn for experiences, we yearn for real connection, we yearn for something that titillates our intellect, and all of that we do in many places, not in one place. We are not sitting in front of one idiot box all day. We are going to cafes, we are going to music festivals, we are going to sports events, we are going to a marathon. We're going to community events, we're doing all of this. And hence, as a new age brand, if you want to reach me, you have to do many small things. You have to be where I am and be there in an authentic way, because, by the way, consumers are the best bullshit detectors in the world. And what's the proof? If that's how you think about yourself, that you can spot a lie in an ad and someone trying to sell something to you in a jiffy, you are the consumer. So every consumer, because consumer is you, is the best bullshit antenna in the world. So you try and integrate कि मतलब कुछ बढ़िया कॉमेडी इवेंट चल रहा था और सडनली बीच में उसने एक पैकेट निकाल दिया कि ये देखिए कितना अच्छा है, तो एक सेकंड में आई विल switch off and move on. But to do it authentically, you will have to have purpose, you will have to have some mission, you will have to have some reason to exist, you will have to have, because all of that leads to something to say. And that's the simplest framework on content. I know we're going to talk about that soon. Is content is just two things: what you say and how you say it. Most people keep focusing on how you say it. Video बनाऊंगा, short बनाऊंगा, drone उड़ाऊंगा, ये करूंगा, वो करूंगा. That is 20% of the job. 40% of the job is what do you say? Do you have something to say? And big companies don't have anything to say, because all this time Shah Rukh Khan was saying it for them. They got some great, good-looking, popular, famous guy to say मेरा साबुन अब उसके साबुन से 10% better है. You didn't have anything to say, and now without that you're not going to be able to get into my life, because I'm pushing is not working anymore.
So are you saying if Shah Rukh Khan was saying the message that you are saying on the ads, it would not go better?
I think the sorry Shah Rukh, but I think the delta would not, no, I'll answer it. I don't think the delta would be anywhere commensurate to the cost.
Yeah, no, fair enough.
It'll get me a lot of reach.
Yeah.
But will the message land any stronger?
Yeah.
I don't think so. Actually, it might land stronger if this, not so good-looking balding guy is saying it. It actually signals to you in a subconscious way कि I might as well, like, he must really believe in what he's saying. Otherwise, why would he put himself on?
One thing that I'm just going to point out to all listeners is that we did a podcast around culture, and I would very much encourage everyone to go listen to it before they listen to this, because I think I'm just going to take that as an assumed that you've listened to some of the concepts in that podcast. So truth is at the core of everything, in the whole truth, and building content and community around something so pure is and uncorruptible in some sense. This seems very daunting. How did you think about it, saying at the core of everything that we create and put out there is going to be truth?
I actually think we sometimes confuse what the whole truth or the truth is. And when we started the brand, I'm going to step 2 steps back and then come to the answer. When we started the brand, a lot of people told me, you're putting yourself on such a high pedestal, this is so daunting, you make one mistake and you're screwed, etc. I would always tell people, listen, my name is the whole truth, not the perfect. I will fuck up. I am human. I'm repeatedly saying that brands are humans, humans are brand, humans fuck up, brands fuck up. We will be truthful about it. We will come and tell you, sorry, we screwed up. We are not the perfect. And that's the approach we've taken into content and community also. Till date, one of our best performing Instagram posts is a post that just says sorry. Because usse pehle we'd put out a post comparing wine and beer and their calories, etc. And we'd made a point that the darker the beer, the more the calories in it. And someone in comments pointed out that this is not necessarily true. And then we did more research and we realized, shit, he's correct. And we've fallen prey to the exact thing we tell others not to do, which is the first Google search link on this, right? And internally, we till then, as forever, we've said that we hold ourselves to a journalistic standard. Then we are like, shit, now we made this mistake. Someone's pointed it out. There are 2-3 ways to go about it. Most brands would ignore, because social media, one day life of post, somewhere buried in comments is this comment. Chuck it. Post also had 2000 likes. Everyone else was reading and going very happy. The other is delete that comment. Even safer. One person will get pissed off, no one will know. But we're like, no, if you're saying that you hold yourself to journalistic standard, this breaks trust. And what do what does the Economist or the Hindu do when they make a mistake? They publish an apology. The next day we put out a post. We replied to that comment saying, you are right. and we will still leave this post and this comment here for 24 hours so that you can and others can read it. Then we will delete it because the information is incorrect, and we will repost with the right information. But between those two will came a sorry post where we just said sorry, and in the caption we said we hold ourselves to this standard. Someone pointed it out. This is wrong. Tomorrow we'll repost with the right information. This is
I remember one of the early conversations, and this was when you were telling us about the brand language, and the brand language had annotations in it, right? And everyone would see the pack and now know it's the whole truth in an annotation, and then we annotate against that and so on, right? That is the whole truth. And I remember you saying we are editing and constantly improving ourselves, and that's the whole truth, right?
And so the visualization behind that was the truth hides the whole truth. To find out the whole truth about anything, you have to go one layer deeper. You have to unpeel the onion a bit. Yeah. And B, that annotation and markup style. We thought of ourselves as the rebels who go out at night and mark up the government propaganda on walls through graffiti. That this is the propaganda of marketing that you're being fed. This is the truth. So this is one of the things that we do. We never write the whole truth line. We first write the truth line, and then we mark it up to become the whole truth line. We unwrap one layer, we unpeel one more layer of the onion to give you the whole truth. And hence, I don't find it daunting because I'm not trying to be perfect. I'm trying to be, but I know that I will fail. And when I fail, I will hold myself to a very high standard. This doesn't become an excuse to keep on failing. But once in 100 times you do, you build enough trust that you go and tell that I fucked up, and guess what? That just deepens the pool of trust far, far more.
So going to sort of content and sort of how you say it. We have Truth Be Told. We had the early Wall of Love. We have stuff that we're doing on Truth GPT. We have TWT Academy. So one, you mentioned something before, which is you have to do a lot of small things to surround your consumer so that she finds you. So isn't this just too many? How do you think about so many things sort of telling this one consistent story in some ways?
See, when it comes to so as we said, you have to reach her through many dimensions, because she's not on one medium sitting all day watching TV. B, yes, we have something very important to say, but that doesn't absolve us of the responsibility to say it in all the different ways in which consumers expect to be told. So someone loves long form, someone loves video, someone loves shorts, someone loves audio. It's my job to then get the truth out, get my what out in all the hows that the consumer expect to be told. See, it all comes back to it's so funny that all the big companies who are largely selling half truths, they push themselves so much to become amazing at the how, on advertising, on crafting the best 30-second ad, on all the media planning principles, and figuring out how to deploy money, etc. They have to do so much mehnat because they know that the what of their message is very weak. Why shouldn't someone who's actually doing the right thing also deploy all of these at the highest level, right? Just as in distribution, as easy as it is for you to reach out and pick up that packet of deep fried chips, it should be that easy for you to reach out and pick up a super clean protein bar which is kept right next to it, and that drives us to be as good at distribution as Unilever is. Similarly, I want to be as good at the content how as the best content creators are. Actually, यहाँ पे brands are not the benchmark. We don't even talk of other brands. There is not one Indian brand, honestly, that we benchmark to when it comes to content. We just benchmark to content creators. That they are the cutting edge of how, and it is incumbent upon us. We cannot, we many a times people, when you are doing the right thing, you become righteous. You're like, I'm doing the right thing. People don't understand only. What can I do? No, it's your job. to people are not stupid because people are you.
Yeah.
You are people. So people are not stupid. You're not doing your job well. You can go and explain it to them, and they're not stupid. They will understand. Do your job well. Yeah. So I don't think it's too much. I think it's just what the consumer, if she reads and sees in front of
What
her,
is your favorite mode of creation? What do you like the most?
writing, long form.
Writing?
Yeah, yeah.
That's surprising. And for people who don't know this, please go back in the early YouTube days. Shashank was a struggling stand-up comic, right? So I really thought it would be stand-up and speaking.
No, by far, long form written word. Fitchit is how the
That's true.
brand started.
Yeah.
I honestly make sense of my own thoughts and understand what my point of view on something is when I write. I am most in flow when I write. Most importantly, I love writing over being on stage or in front of the camera because writing is not stressful for me. Uh, camera work, being on stage, I can do it decently well, but writing is my go-to.
Yeah. What are some of the learnings from having done all of these, and which can for someone who's getting started, right, might not have the same creation ethos as you.
Yeah.
And all of this seems very daunting. What are some of the early learnings on this is what you should do, this is what you shouldn't do?
I think, see, absolutely, someone else might have some other strength. If I zoom out and not talk about content, my first advice is to start up, you need an unfair advantage. The unfair advantage will most probably come from a strength that you have. Whatever it is, double, triple down on that. If it's supply chain, then supply chain. If it's finance, then finance. If it's product, then product. You don't have to make it content.
Yeah.
There are infinite paths to nirvana. You just double, triple down on what your unique 100th percentile strength
Fair
is.
enough. With content, I think we started with this thing. If you're building a brand,
Yeah.
Without content, you're not able to reach your
That's true. Yeah.
your consumer.
Yeah.
So that means you'll hire someone for content.
Yeah.
But if you don't have a nose for it, right?
I would see, I can't, because I am who I am, it is tough for me to imagine if I didn't have a nose for it, मैं क्या करता.
Yeah.
But what I've seen others do, and one example that comes to mind is these guys who are building Perfora, this oral care brand.
Sure.
They're just, transparency is a big tool. If you can be vulnerable as a founder, and in the early days, you want to relate to your consumers, you bring them in. You show them what's happening. You show them, मैंने ये fight मारा, ये हुआ, ये नहीं हुआ, ये देखो आज हम यहाँ बद्दी में इस 3P के पास आए हैं,
Yeah.
वहाँ पे ये चल रहा है, etc. You just bring them into your life. That's a very powerful tool to connect without having to have very high storytelling chops. And you can always have one or two people in the beginning who are good at the how. Someone who's good at video shooting and editing, etc. You can always have.
Yeah.
But क्या बोलना है अगर नहीं चमक रहा, my go-to answer is just show people the the good, the bad, the ugly, the transparent side of it, and just get started from there. It really builds connection.
I thought you were going to say use AI. And I said only half jokingly because that's one of the things that's sort of disrupting this entire content space.
Yeah.
And so, what do you think is the role of AI in this space? And I know you've sort of played around with it, experimented with it.
Honestly, after having experimented and dabbled a little bit with it, I now have a contrarian view on what I had a year ago. When we made Truth GPT, at that time, I was also in that this will eat the content world. I must dabble in it and do something with it, etc. That's why we made Truth GPT. It does occasionally well. It's once someone discovers it, they spend a lot of time on it. But as you said, one of the downsides of having so many properties is you don't have the ability to, make people aware of every property, and hence it doesn't get enough top funnel, and we don't even try. Because my view has now changed to AI will further increase the, it'll push content to the edges. There'll be a lot of shit which will be very good quality shit because AI is making it. but the value of original human art
Yeah.
will actually go up. The difference is now you have to be 99.9th percentile
Yeah.
to get that value out, because AI is going to come till 99. But जो remaining है उसकी value तो और भी ज़्यादा
Yeah. The
बढ़
only
जाएगी.
place where I agree with you, and the only place, and I know you and Aditya are both big art people, and I know how much you value just the authentic human
Yeah.
act of creation, right? So I agree with you. Where I would add to your answer is that in the how, if you have a great what on what to say, in the how,
AI
I
can
think AI can really help you create all the different ways
Ways
in
in
which
which-
that you reach the user. And at least the early days, and we don't know, right? Then some of this
Yeah.
is happening at warp speed.
Yeah.
But actually, in just these early days of AI, you're saying all creators are creating a lot more content, right? Because they're able to create 5 pieces instead of 1 piece in the same time. So it's giving them phenomenal leverage to actually create more content. By the way, users are actually watching all of that content, so the watching time has also gone up.
Yeah.
So it's
But
so
I can
far.
tell you I agree. But if I, like, as a marketer and a storyteller,
Yeah.
I get excited about, for example, imagine if 6 months down the line, I put out a marketing campaign which says nothing touched by AI here.
Yeah.
That every word you read, everything you hear
Yeah.
is untouched by AI. I think that is going to become super valuable also, but then you have to do it at a really, really
Yeah.
high
Yeah.
level. See, anything, the beauty of capitalism and storytelling both is everyone runs towards one space, you leave a vacuum
Yeah.
on the opposite side, and I can build a business, a story, and value by being the opposite, because differentiation matters. So will AI be a great co-pilot to
Tool.
help you
Yeah.
build stuff? Yes. But can you go the other extreme
Yeah.
and be like, we shun AI.
Yeah.
We will not let AI touch any word
Yeah.
written here, because you know why? Because you humans can't tell when AI starts dreaming.
Yeah.
And we don't want to take that chance. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
See,
So
that was
yeah, AI is
that was
listening.
very appropriate. Cool. Let's actually switch gears a little bit to communities, and the whole truth is sort of like built by and for the community in some sense, right? And one of your values is consumer is family,
Yeah.
which means that you're constantly having very open conversations
Yeah.
with them. But you've also built a very strong community that loves you, criticizes you. Just talk a little bit about how some of this has evolved, and you have literally let that community in through the door of your office.
Yeah. So first of all, I don't think brands build communities. You can only, if the community is already getting built around your brand, you can be a platform that surfaces it and facilitates it. But having some people on a WhatsApp group does not a community make. Right? And 99% brands don't have community, they have groups. And the difference between a group and a community is that a group becomes a community when there is a shared purpose, a shared belief, a higher cause because of which they come together. And the telltale sign of a group converting into a community is groups expect to receive, communities expect to give. And by this definition, if you think of so many brand groups, क्या होता है वहाँ पे? सब लोग चुप बैठते हैं, फिर ब्रांड कुछ इनिशिएट करता है तो लोग थोड़े 3-4 लोग रिएक्ट कर देते हैं.
Yeah.
But everyone sitting pretty, waiting for a discount, a promotion, a event, or something to happen. No one is contributing for the other, right? We saw from day zero that, so I'll tell you the 3 stages in which it happened. First, we saw that the people who are coalescing around the brand, who are talking to us, who are writing to us, who are loving the brand, are all very similar in one way, which is they are all very curious, very, intellectually very sound. It spread in the startup community, it spread in the VC world, it spread in the founder world, it spread in the athlete world, it spread in the sportsman world. people at the cutting edge of their game were gravitating towards the brand, and we were like, कुछ तो हो रहा है यहाँ पे कि ये क्यों है. And there were two reasons we discovered. One was the purity of the purpose, and second, we realized this common articulation, which is our insight, as you know, or behind the brand, that no one likes being lied to. That's the insight behind the brand. Especially people who believe that they are the smartest of the lot do not like being taken for a ride. So here was a brand which was speaking the truth and speaking expertise at a high level. So they started, coming together around it. We did nothing about it. We just observed कि अच्छा ये हो रहा है. Second, we saw that people started signaling to each other through whole truth that, if you meet someone who you see having whole truth on, say, a metro or at a cafe or at a music concert, you will instantly feel he's my tribe, right? You will feel कि इस आदमी से मैं बात कर सकता हूँ जाके, ये, right? So this started happening. People would meet up in places. So there was this is a real thing that a girl sent us a video of her soon-to-be husband landed at the airport. She went to pick him up with a har of whole truths. Because they had met because both of them were eating.
Oh, really? Oh, wow. Okay.
And they told us that, this thing that you made has been central to our relationship, etc.
Yeah.
Like shit, they तो community तो है दुनिया में.
The whole truth dating app. That might or might not go down.
I don't know. So when these two things happened, this happened over 2-3 years. Then we started asking ourselves the question कि देखो community तो है.
Yeah.
What can we do to facilitate it, to bring them together, etc. That's when we started thinking, अच्छा communities. Then we went to the first principle of that कि community कहाँ से आती है, religion से आती है, because they have some, belief. Then we're like, अच्छा running communities क्यों होती हैं, fitness communities क्यों होती हैं, why do people love sharing in these places, right? And that's how we approached it. But we didn't create a community by wanting to create a community. It happened, and then we just, I think, did the right things to be the platform to bring them together.
No, but I think you foster it very carefully.
Yeah.
And I'm part of some of the WhatsApp groups, and something you just said, and I said, what is different about this group is, as soon as somebody asks a question, and by the way, it is like today they were talking about the ultra human ring on one of the, and how do I use it? Actually, the M1, not the ring, and then there was just people just helping
each other,
helping her out immediately, which doesn't happen, which is just.
And zero WhatsApp forward, good morning, none of that shit, right? People will shanti se be sitting, someone will ask. And by the way, both kinds of conversations happen. Newbie asking question, expert answering. Expert nerding out, other experts contributing. Both these things keep happening.
So what have you done to foster it? And one of the things is actually you don't make it very large. It's actually, subsets. There are community meetups. You've kept a boutique nature to this community in some ways.
See, again, first of all, it is, we didn't make it with any end objective in mind. There is no sales objective here. There is no target here कि 1 लाख लोग चाहिए मेरे को by the end of next year on my community. None of that is there. Like, आप लोग आपस में बात कर रहे हो.
हमारी. Why do it? Like, what's the point?
I'll come to that. The answer, let me give you the answer. It's service. I said, na, community happens when you come in with the intent to give, not to get. That's how you make community also, with an intent to give. If I get nothing out of it also, it's fine. But as we all know, there is zero chance, right, that I'll get nothing out of this. Right? If you are talking on a whole truth WhatsApp group, and the whole truth is the most silent partner here. We don't even say anything, right? Like because if you, that's by the way one of the biggest things to never do in a community. Don't do a giveaway. Don't give them gifts. Because then you're creating hierarchy. Then you're saying, मैं brand हूँ और मैं तुम्हें कुछ दूंगा. The minute that happens, relationship changes कि अच्छा फिर हम wait करेंगे अब जब brand कुछ करेगा. We don't do anything in the community. What we do is, so my biggest learning on community came from Team BHP. That's one of the best communities that I've ever seen, right? People love talking, love sharing, nerding out, etc. And the core, by the way, the core thing about many communities is
Yeah.
this feeling of हमें दुनिया नहीं समझती.
Yeah.
Because of some quirk that we have, people don't understand us.
Yeah.
But this is my tribe.
This is your safe space.
हाँ,
Yeah.
my safe. इनको यहाँ पे
Yeah.
अगर मैं कार के बम्पर के लेफ्ट वाले आई डोंट नो हैलोजन लैम्प पे नर्ड
Yeah.
आउट करूंगा तो लोग मेरे को
Yeah.
पागल नहीं समझेंगे, मेरे
Yeah.
लाइक कंट्रीब्यूट करेंगे एक्सेट्रा,
Yeah.
राइट. वहाँ पे इफ़ यू कैन फैसिलिटेट, अब कोई बंदा है जो दिन रात बैठ के जवाब दे रहा है,
Yeah.
वो हर कम्युनिटी में होएगा, राइट. लाइक देयर बी लाइक अंकुश दाता टाइप पीपल ऑन आवर कम्युनिटी हु आर जस्ट लाइक
Yeah.
giving all the time.
So how do you find these people? And you call them truth seekers,
Yeah.
and it's this tribe of truth seekers.
Yeah.
One, I know some of these things just come to you, but how do you make sure that in each of these community groups and so on, there are enough of those truth seekers who, it's sort of self-policing, right? They all
Yeah.
enforce that behavior on each other.
So honestly, in the first group, it happened on its own because literally we were seeing इतने सारे लोग हैं, कुछ हमारे को ऑफलाइन मिले एक्सेट्रा, तो हमने ना बोला हम एक व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप बनाते हैं, सब लोगों को एक जगह पे ले आते हैं. तो पहला ग्रुप 200 लोगों का बना, जिसमें दीज पीपल आर ऑलरेडी देयर. These people got their friends, so already, and they already had a filter of what kind of conversations they want to have. तो धीरे धीरे that 200 went to 500 by people getting their own people. Then we said भाई 500 पे अब ये ग्रुप ब्रेक होना शुरू हो जाएगा, बिकॉज कहाँ तक कि तुम खींच लोगे, यू नो, बैड कॉन्वर्सेशन, घटिया कॉन्वर्सेशन will happen. We said we'll break up the group. When we broke up the group, the one good thing we did was we had identified, and here by the way, AI helped. Samarth did this. He took out the entire chat history, fed it into ChatGPT and said, summarize for me who are the top contributors. And Pat came the answer that these are the 15 people who are who sent the most messages. We pinged them separately and said, listen, this group will become shit if it goes from 500 to 1000 now.
Yeah.
We'll have to make a new group. Can we request 7-8 of you to also be on that group, because initially it will need seeding.
Yeah.
You know, if people ask questions and no one answers, then it will die. They agreed. That's how the second group happened. Then that became a formula कि everyone,
Yeah.
अब community खुद बोलती है कि यहाँ पे बहुत ज़्यादा लोग हो रहे हैं, let's break it up, and
Yeah.
someone will raise their hand and saying, I volunteer to be on that group
Yeah.
also. So multiple people are on multiple groups.
Yeah.
To be the expert who seeds that community, but it's never us.
Yeah. One of the other things about communities is also you start deriving your identity from it, right?
Yes.
Isn't that some,
Yes.
you know, I'm on
Yes.
a couple of these, and I can see that they take pride in nurturing
Yes.
these.
And our job as a facilitator is to help them flaunt it.
Yeah.
So for example, again, team BHP learning.
Yeah.
You have different levels
Yeah.
in TBHP, where, you know, if you've been giving great answers which are getting upvoted, you will become, I don't know, level 3, 4, कुछ होता है उनका नाम भूल गया हूँ मैं. So you get to level 4, let's say dragon level, whatever.
Yeah.
They will send you a sticker which you can put on your car. Now next time some noob team BHPN stops his car next to yours, he looks at this, he already has respect.
Yeah.
And we are all social animals looking for social signaling, right? So my job is to help my community ke top people. So I sent you those LinkedIn posts,
Yeah.
right? Like that's what we do. Like we will send you something which A tells you that we see you, we respect what you're doing for the community, and B helps you get identified as, you know, the senior in this community, because that gives you social cred, and that will then ensure that you never stop contributing.
So you told me something very interesting the other day, which is the community is actually now our best NPD hack and NPD process, because
Yeah.
they'll tell us
Yeah.
if you're doing something right or if you're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about how you actually involve them in that NPD process. And second, it also can create a lot of noise, right? So how do you separate in that process signal from noise?
So how we see, consumer is family. हमने कुछ नया बनाया है तो हम किसको पहले भेजेंगे? We tell people, and वो भी, by the way, we do it in a very respectful way. So we when we want to send you something on NPD, we'll just put out a Google form saying, guys,
They wanna-
made something great, we think, but if you want to try, fill this form. Same for consumer feedback calls. कि अगर हमारे को किसी चीज़ के बारे में कुछ जानना है, by the way, I've started a new thing of I write to all our consumers once a month with the biggest problem that I am facing in the company, and I take their counsel, and it is unbelievable, at least to me. 2 बारी भेजी है मैंने अभी तक ईमेल, within 1 hour, I got 1200 form
Wow.
responses and 250 written long emails in return in 48 hours. Right? So that's someone who's sitting ready to get an email from Shashank and reply in proper detail, etc. Right? So this is just consumerist family, right? Like, आपने पूछा आपको चाहिए तो then
Yeah.
this conversation will happen off group.
Yeah.
I'm not going to have this conversation
Yeah.
on the group.
But sometimes family is like my mother, where I have to block out like 80% of what she says. Then what do you do?
That see comes with the territory. We
Yeah.
also have people who will take advantage of this, people who will go on,
Yeah.
etc. Honestly, it happens much lesser than I expected it to happen, because I think the community has attracted like-minded, nice people, etc. So it happens, but it still happens.
Yeah.
Don't think you can wish it away. It's like, हाँ नहीं है perfect यार, मतलब
My mother's gonna really
हाँ,
watch
you're
this
in
and-
for it.
Yeah,
You're in for
it because I mentioned it twice. So when I, one of the last things on community is, for it seems like it's an end in itself.
Yeah.
And I know your content and community team is separate, and we'll talk about what's the makeup. But like, what is the ROI? How do you manage this team? Like, this seems very like I'll start a team. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know how to measure them.
हाँ मतलब which can really leave someone who's only left brain spiky very nervous
Yeah.
and वो, but we are balanced people first of all, and
Yeah.
uh, but more importantly, the way I think about it is, if it's requiring too much resource, then as I said, you're not building community, because that must mean तुम बहुत कुछ कर रहे हो. तुम्हें बहुत कुछ नहीं करना है.
Yeah.
शुरू में थोड़ा एफर्ट लगा था, to design some stuff and get everyone together,
Yeah.
etc. But अब तुम्हें बहुत कुछ नहीं करना है.
Yeah.
Once a month we facilitate a offline meetup.
Yeah.
Usme we facilitate, right? One we did at the DVC office. You guys were kind enough to give us that space. We were the facilitator. We just had a connection through whom we got a space.
Yeah.
That's it. Then when we went there at the event, we spoke to, on DM, we spoke to two of these super enthu people, and we asked them, do you have any game in mind that we can do? So one, Riya naam ki ek user hai, she came up with she's an aspiring nutritionist. She wants to actually start up in this space. She came with the idea that, one of my biggest challenges is I open the fridge and whatever is left over रात को मेरे को उससे कुछ बनाना होता है. So let's make that a challenge. I will get 20 printouts of leftover cabbage, leftover broccoli, leftover onion, ये वो, and we will divide people into 5 groups, give them any random 4, and ask them to come up with a recipe with it. So this became the game on that day. We were the silent. हमने बस रिया को push करा कि आप सोचो क्या कर सकते हैं, and she came up and she conducted the activity. So बहुत ज़्यादा resource नहीं लगता है, and you have to be clear कि ये जो 2 या 3 लोग लग रहे हैं, this cost, this is not in the resource allocation optimization algo. This is so small a cost that I'm willing to spend it without expectation of return, when in my heart I know return तो आएगा, but मुझे पता नहीं कहाँ से आएगा, मुझे पता नहीं कैसे आएगा, और ये इतना छोटा कॉस्ट है कि अगर मैं इस पे दाव नहीं खेल सकता तो किस पे खेल सकता.
So was that leap of faith just intuitive to you, and how do you explain that leap of faith to other founders for whom it might not be as intuitive?
But that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm articulating the cost. It is 2 not so senior people with some time of 1 or 2 senior people going into this, and senior people ka time is less. The operational work wala time is more. At our stage of company right now, where I'm a 150 people org, I can afford this cost. So actually the message I would leave is, the things that you have belief in, if you can bring it down to a very low level of cost, then it removes the question of it being a leap of faith. Go and do it, because it won't kill you. Like kuch nahi hoega.
Just try it. Fair enough. Overall, and I'm saying both content and community now together, that team is a separate team, separate focus. It's almost like it's as important as product, as important as supply chain, right? So one, and Anu, Samarth, all of these guys are actually core to driving all of this, right? So one, where do you find so many people? And I know initially it was like Shashank is the content machine and let's flog Shashank the content machine. But then it was how do you amplify the message, and now you have this team of content creators. So how did you think about building this team? How do you pick these people? They have a very different DNA.
Yeah.
Talk about all of that.
So this has three parts. The overarching theme of this answer is I don't think I've done even 50% of the job. This is actually the toughest team to build. It's been the toughest team to build for me. I always believe that your strengths are your weaknesses. Because content is my strength, it is also my weakness. Because I am trying to find a clone of myself to lead it, and then clones of them to do it. And usually, initially, I used to feel ashamed of saying this, but I'm not, because my character and my personality is built into the brand. That's why the brand is consistent over time. Having said that, the people that we have attracted who are doing such a great job of doing it have come because of one or two reasons. uh, One big reason is how we structured this team. This team has zero sales linkage. I have never asked how many website visitors came because of the content that you put out. I have never asked what sales came out. I don't intend to ask. I hold them to a journalistic standard. I hold them to a content creator standard. What is the average view duration of the content that we're putting down? If you're writing a 1500 word article, what is the scroll depth to which people are going and bouncing off? You tell me those things. You compare yourself to an economist on written form and to a content creator on Instagram, and if we are not 90th percentile on that, then we're not doing a good job of this. You do that. It's my job as the founder to put ये belief leap of faith है, and वो मेरा belief है कि ये तुम अगर top notch level पे करोगे तो इसका brand पे हेलो आएगा ही आएगा. And I have, again, I can't prove it to the world linearly, but कंपनी को 4 साल हुए हैं, उसमें से पहले 2.5 साल तो मैंने ₹1 परफॉर्मेंस वाली एड्स पे नहीं खर्चा था. तो ब्रांड कैसे ग्रो करा? सिर्फ वर्ड माउथ से तो नहीं हुआ होगा ना, मतलब कुछ तो. एंड इट आंसर वाज कंटेंट. वी गॉट टू 100K फॉलोअर्स इन 10 months of starting the brand. Everyone was talking about our posts, etc. And before that about fit shit. So clearly it works. Just because I or people around me don't have the wisdom to quantify how it works doesn't mean I negate the fact that it works, right? So I took the leap of faith and the belief. I was like, I will never ask you this question. I will give you a budget that, outside of team cost, this is the budget. इसके अंदर whatever is the best that we can do, because in my mathematical modeling, this is the cost I'm willing to live with. I've already made my peace with ये सारा पैसा कल जल भी जाएगा तो भी मैं, company will not be in doldrums, nothing will happen. I've already made that call. Now you go and give me the best freaking journalistic standard, content creator standard output that you can. This inspires great people to join, because in most other firms they will be asked a sales question out of it. And the second is,
and the conversations are actually purely is what you would they are editorial.
Yes,
right?
exactly.
And I've experienced some fly on the wall type uh, fly on the wall version of these conversations, and it is just, I mean, it's what you would expect in a newsroom.
In a newsroom.
What you would expect in
our
a
editor Samarth is a fellow. He's an IITian who became a journalist, who's been in the Wall Street Journal edit room. He's been in the Hindu edit room. He's written some of the best pieces in this country. He is not going to come work for a company and put his reputation on the line. He's like, as it is for a journalist, Anu is also a journalist, for a journalist to come and work in a corporation, in their peer circles, they're already looked down on कि तुम भी बिक गए, तुम चले गए बड़ी कंपनी के पास. They know that.
And the only thing I would add to this is, and we do content in our own way. And initially this used to be the conversation, right? We're spending so much time, it's so hard to generate all of this content. Doesn't help us get deals, does it? What is the use of this? And we just said, stick with it, right? And it is a muscle that compounds, and then the brand compounds. And then there is just goodness that is happening, that now people are writing to us saying, oh, you know what, I heard you on that, and that resonated. And so I just think it takes time to compound, but it can truly be a moat long term if you actually invest in building that muscle early.
See, there's a direct correlation between how hard it is
Yeah.
and how high a probability of being a moat it is.
Yeah.
वो तो क्लियर है ना. आधे लोग इसीलिए छोड़ देते हैं, पता नहीं इससे हो क्या रहा है, एफर्ट तो इतना लग रहा है, एक्सेट्रा, एंड विच इज व्हाई नॉट एवरीवन गेट्स टू बिल्ड इट.
Yeah.
So there's value in sticking with it. So but it needs basically one person's undying belief is what it needs, and that one person in an org has to be the founder in this case.
Yeah.
If you don't have this belief, वो नीचे से surface नहीं होएगा.
So last question, if you had to go back and say, of all the things that you created, the content pieces that you created and so on, do you have a sort of favorite one which was like, it was just the most enjoyable?
I would have to say the OG, the original ad in which I start by coming out of a TV screen.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Because I still think even after, at that time we had seed money in the bank. After that, we've had so much resource money, people, etc. But that still, that one piece which was made on a 2 lakh rupee budget with all friends and family, shot inside our own production gala, still has the most authentic, who we are, rustic connection and feel to it.
Yeah.
And that actually is something that I worry about, that actually as counterintuitively as resource goes up, quality of content might go down, because you try and keep substituting all the gimmicks and riffraff and this and that for the meat of it, which is what do you have to say.
I remember that ad, and there was this authenticity to it. And I think you're the conscience keeper of that authenticity, and I think you will just not let that authenticity suffer as production
no pressure
quality.
We started this with no pressure.
Production quality increases, and like every conversation, we can keep going on. And I'll tell you, the one thing that I will remember from this conversation is that communities versus groups, it's giving versus taking. And I know you've been super generous with us always. So thank you for again being super generous with time, and thanks for everyone for listening. Any final thoughts?
No, thank you so much. As you rightly said, we could go on forever about this, and I think you guys do a great job with this podcast. Even the earlier one we did, because you come in so prepped, it pushes at least me to crystallize my thoughts, and I actually go back having learned more about myself, because these are fuzzy thoughts in your head, but when someone pushes you to put them down because it is going to get recorded, and the one who's asking will come in prepped with all sorts of history behind it, it's painful. You grapple against it, time nahi hai mere paas, nahi karna, etc. But once you do it, I've always gone back feeling good. Now I am very clear about what I think about this. So thank you for that.
Thank you.